the most famous would be Annabelle. This is a Raggedy Ann doll that's made like
For decades, they were called the world's most famous paranormal investigators. Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren claimed they investigated some of the most terrifying hauntings in history. Demonic possessions, cursed houses, shadow entities, and cases so disturbing, Hollywood turned them into billion-dollar horror movies. But behind the terrifying stories lies one disturbing question. How much of it was actually true? Before we begin, subscribe to CaseZero for more dark secrets, disturbing mysteries, and terrifying true stories. Because sometimes, the truth is scarier than the legend. Ed and Lorraine Warren became famous during the 1970s. They described themselves as paranormal investigators and demonologists. The couple claimed they investigated over 10,000 supernatural cases, and some of their most famous investigations inspired movies like The Conjuring, Annabelle, and the Amityville Horror. To believers, the Warrens were heroes fighting evil, but skeptics saw something completely different. One of the Warrens' most famous cases was the Amityville haunting. A family claimed terrifying paranormal activity forced them to flee their home. Demonic voices, moving objects, unexplained phenomena. The story became world famous. But years later, serious doubts began to appear. Investigators, journalists, and even lawyers connected to the case claimed large parts of the story may have been exaggerated or completely fabricated. One attorney reportedly described the haunting story as created over bottles of wine. And despite decades of investigation, no scientific evidence of paranormal activity was ever confirmed. Still, the legend survived. Another famous Warren case inspired The Conjuring. The Perron family claimed dark spirits terrorized them inside a farmhouse in Rhode Island. The Warrens investigated and declared the home haunted.
Of what some are calling a real ghost story. You may recall our telling you about what some call a haunted house in Southington. Well, something's afoot there again, and Elizabeth McGuire brings us the latest.
But critics argued many paranormal claims lacked proof. Some former residents of the house later stated they never experienced supernatural events at all. And skeptics accused the Warrens of turning fear into entertainment. Yet millions of people continued believing the stories. Because whether real or fake, the fear felt real. Over the years, the Warrens became surrounded by controversy. Some former investigators accused them of exaggeration. Others questioned their credentials entirely. Critics claimed Ed Warren had no officially recognized expertise in demonology or paranormal science. And despite thousands of investigations, no supernatural evidence presented by the Warrens was ever scientifically verified. Still, believers defend them to this day, because some people claim the Warrens helped families experiencing terrifying and unexplained events, and that leaves the world divided. Were the Warrens exposing real evil, or creating stories people desperately wanted to believe? Today, the Warren cases remain some of the most famous paranormal stories ever told. Movies transformed them into legends. But behind the horror films, controversy still follows their names. And maybe that's what makes the Warrens so fascinating. Not whether ghosts were real, but whether fear itself became the greatest story ever sold. What do you think? Were the Warrens telling the truth? Or were their cases built on exaggeration and fear? Comment your theory below. And if you want more disturbing mysteries, paranormal cases, and dark secrets, subscribe to CaseZero. Because some legends hide darker
Very
truths.
frightening. But there's a lot of people that don't believe.